We spent 5 weeks in Chiang Mai and we're sharing our top 22 tips so you can make the most of your time in Thailand. Here's what you should know before you go.
Welcome back to Finding Gina Marie. We share our lives as full-time travelers and the connections we make along the way.
If you're new here, welcome. I'm Judy.
And I'm Kevin. Let's not waste any time. Let's dive right in.
Thailand allows 64 countries, including the US, to get an automatic visa on arrival that you don't have to do anything for. You can just show up as a tourist and stay 30 days. But if you're like us and you think you might want to stay longer than 30 days, go ahead and get an e-visa online so that you can stay up to 60 days without having to do any additional paperwork.
It's a lot easier than having to go down to the immigration office and extend your visa there because there's paperwork, there's queues you have to wait in, and all we needed was a few extra days because we spent time doing our health exams and we wanted to have just a few more days here in Chiang Mai. So we did the process, but it would have been so much faster if we had done it online.
We have an in-depth article on our website that you can check out that walks you through all the paperwork you'll need. It's an easy process, but it is time consuming. So do it online and save yourself the hassle.
And speaking of our medical exams, we do recommend you use Thailand for medical tourism. It can be great here, and we have a whole video on that you can watch that's linked below.
Consider the timing of your visit. You're going to want to avoid burning season, which is March through May. And it's the time of year when farmers are burning their leftover crops in order to fertilize the fields for the next season. It wasn't so much of an issue here in Chiang Mai, but in Bangkok it was very smoky and not pleasant to deal with.
We're here from the end of January through February, and the peak season is November through March. Rainy season is July through October, and it does rain in spurts throughout the day. It's not necessarily torrential rains. People have said that it's kind of nice because the clouds give a little bit of overcast to avoid the sun.
And it's also a little more green that time of year too. And it's definitely going to be cheaper.
Tip number 4. Visit an ATM early. Cash is used everywhere in Chiang Mai, and often you can't even pull out a credit card to use it, so make sure you have cash on hand. ATMs are everywhere, you won't have a problem finding them. Just make sure you use a card that doesn't have torn transaction fees, and also look at the conversion rates on the screen, because you don't want to have the ATM doing your conversion.
The area we stayed in was Nimman, and it's a pretty touristy area. And one of the things that you'll notice is tip jars are everywhere because it's a touristy location. Tips aren't expected or required. We have left our spare change in the tip jars, and all of the staff is very appreciative.
As with other countries in Southeast Asia, you're not supposed to drink the tap water, but our Airbnb host was good about supplying us with water, actually cases of bottled water and glass, so we didn't even have any plastic waste. And we actually just returned those empty bottles to the reception desk for their deposit and return.
And most of the countries in Southeast Asia don't allow you to flush toilet paper, and Thailand is no exception. There's bum guns, bidets, use those instead, and just throw your waste in a trash bag, which is next to the toilet.
And in Thailand, please be respectful to other people. A lot of Thai people will greet you with a Y, which is a hands pressed together and a slight head bow. We found ourselves doing that when we were leaving a restaurant or just thanking them for something. Also, give a smile. Everybody likes a smile around here, and they certainly return it when you give them one.
I think there's some sort of quote, smiles for miles.
It's very nice. They're very pleasant.
Number 9, respect the heat. It can be very hot in Thailand. Yesterday we were walking, it was 93 degrees. It was the end of February, so it's going to be hot. We like wool clothes because they're breathable, they're antimicrobial. We have an entire gear list of the clothes that we wear. Make sure you also wear sunscreen and a hat. And if you're going to be doing a lot of walking around, bring a backpack with some water in it so that you don't dehydrate.
And while you're here, you'll have to choose the appropriate footwear. When you're walking in long hikes or maybe at places like elephant parks like we did, wearing walking shoes is really kind of important because they're very dirty and you could step in something that's really nasty. So we were glad we had our walking shoes during our elephant park visit. When you're going to temples, sandals are really convenient because you have to take your shoes off every time you go in. So if you have to go in and out quickly, you want to have something that slips off your feet very quickly.
As far as transportation goes, our favorite way to get around is through walking. The other option is Grab. We love using that app because we don't have to negotiate prices, we don't have to use cash, and we know before we go exactly how much it's going to cost.
Another option is red trucks, which are a shared ride service. Sometimes they can be really good if you know the path you're going. You may have to wait for somebody to get on, so they have a full truck, and you also will have to negotiate the price up front to make sure you know exactly what you're going to pay. And you will need cash. Tuk-tuks also require cash and require negotiation, and you'll have to make sure that they're actually the appropriate transportation for where you're going because they can get pretty expensive on longer rides.
One of the drawbacks of red trucks also is that you may not be the first one dropped off even though you're the first person on board. So they are trying to plan their trips efficiently.
Yeah, when we wanted to get somewhere quickly, like we had a tour starting, we took a Grab because we knew exactly how long it was going to take and we knew we didn't have to negotiate any pricing. Number 12, do your due diligence before booking an elephant park tour. Many are not ethical or kind to the animals, and we were very concerned about that when we were booking ours. We have an episode coming up all about that, and you want to make sure you subscribe.
And next week, we're going to be sharing all of our deep impressions of our time in Chiang Mai. So you don't want to miss that either. Take some time to figure out what kind of experience you're looking for while you're in Chiang Mai. We chose to stay in the Nimman area for a few reasons. The first is that it was walking distance to Chiang Mai Ram Hospital, where we knew we were going to be getting a bunch of medical tests. We also knew that we were going to be buying a new camera while we were here, so the Mai shopping mall would be very convenient for us. And we also liked how available and easy it was to get to all of the many restaurants that are in this area as well.
Where the Nimman area is more modern, if you want the street markets and a lot of the local shops and local eateries, you want to be in Old Town. That's going to give you the best experience and the quickest access to these wonderful night markets, especially the Sunday night market.
And regardless of which area you stay in, you still want to check out the night markets and the local markets for your best buys on souvenirs and clothes, and to get really great authentic food.
The Sunday night market is a place you can walk for hours, so you may want to wear good footwear for that one. And there's many small markets around the area, so it's not always in Old Town, but that's where the big ones are.
Yeah, we found a great one in Nimman as well.
And you won't have any problem finding restaurants in Chiang Mai, but do try to find some local places. They can be really inexpensive with really great food. We had a very generous meal at one place for 40 to 45 baht, which comes out to less than $1.25 USD.
For some of the best pictures that you're ever going to take, you'll want to stop in and take a look at the temples that are everywhere. In fact, you could just walk between the Nimman area and Old Town and see several gorgeous temples without having to go into Old Town if you don't want to. But it's where we felt like you got the prettiest pictures, the things that looked most Thai and interesting. It was proof that you were here.
And most of the temples are absolutely free. So it's a great way of getting around town, looking at beautiful things, taking pictures, and not spending anything.
And even if you don't go inside, they're still beautiful to look at from the outside.
Walking around Chiang Mai isn't hard, but you do have to watch where you're walking. A lot of the sidewalks, when there are sidewalks, are broken and maybe a little rough on your feet. And most of the time we were walking around in Nimman, there were no sidewalks. So we were walking out in the street to get from place to place. And it wasn't a problem. You just have to kind of negotiate with some of the cars that shoot through. It's not a very high traffic area.
Some areas of town have crosswalks with traffic signals helping pedestrians to cross. In other areas, there are crosswalks only. When there are no signals or stop signs, you often have to find a break in traffic, put your hand out, and walk across with intention. Remember that vehicles drive on the left, so look both ways. Fortunately, drivers in Thailand are friendly and responsive to pedestrians, and they will slow down or stop if they see you crossing. You didn't really feel like you were always playing Frogger like in some other countries.
And remember, there's more food in Thailand than pad Thai. There's khao soi, There's tom yum soup, there's Thai curry, and northern sausage, which I really liked a lot.
That's one of the pluses of going to some of the night markets, is that there's a lot of food you can try without having to have a full expensive meal somewhere.
So what is this?
Crispy pork.
Crispy pork. Okay. And Thailand's known for its bold flavors, so you're probably gonna get some spice in most of your meals. It's great. I think it was a nice balance of flavor and spice. And it's very hot here, so it's really nice that there's a lot of refreshing fruit drinks around. Fruit juices, fruit smoothies, very well done. They use filtered water for the ice, so you don't have to worry about that. We never had a problem with them at all.
Our stomachs actually did pretty well with Thai food.
Exactly.
Don't miss the coffee culture here. There are some great coffees in Chiang Mai. And one of our favorite places was Roastery. Not only did the flat whites taste great, but they included beautiful latte art. And bask in the idea that they have an entire menu of different kinds of coffee selections here. So you can be as wild as you want to be, because the coffee culture in Thailand is here for it.
Another tip, don't skip the Japanese food. Thailand has embraced Japanese food culture, and we had some amazing ramen soup while we were here in Chiang Mai.
And number 22 is one that really surprised me. Chopsticks are used for noodle dishes and some Chinese dishes, but overall, it's really common to have a spoon and a fork. And the intention is that you use your fork to put food on your spoon and you eat from your spoon.
Are any of these tips ones you didn't know about, or do you have some that you want to add to our list? Let us know in the comments below.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode, and you'll subscribe if you haven't already. The best compliment you can give to us is to share our videos with your family and friends.
And check out findingginamarie.com, where you have articles and great information, and our forum.
Until next time.
Until next time.
And as in most Southeast, and as is the case in most Southeast, and as this is the and many of the coffee shops have an entire menu of assortments of coffees and how they make them different than your typical Americano.